All right, 42 days of Keto Chow, day 15. I am back on heavy cream. In fact, right now I have, you probably can't see it. See, there's a little bits of stuff in there. I don't know why. That's nutmeg. You want to know why? Because this is eggnog. Oh, yeah. I like eggnog. I like eggnog a lot. So, that has to be one of the new flavors. Anyway, so yeah, I'm back to doing heavy cream. Though, in a fitting end to my grapeseed oil week, when I tested my ketones last night, I was at 3.9, which is pretty cool. I did get higher ketone levels when I was doing a week of avocado oil back in November, and I completely suspect that was due to the fact that my mouth was all dry. No, that was due to the fact that I was doing MCT oil in addition to the avocado oil. I was actually using MCT oil powder, but that's beside the point. And MCT oil, well, the medium chain triglycerides, when you ingest them, they go directly from your gut right to your liver. They don't pass go. They don't collect $200. They just go to your liver, and your liver turns them directly into ketones. Now, according to a bunch of studies, there isn't any weight loss advantage to having MCT oil converted into ketones and taking MCT oil, but that doesn't mean that they don't produce more ketones. And now, we don't want to chase ketones. I don't want anybody to get the impression that that's the goal of everything. Having more ketones, your brain has a linear uptake of ketones. If there's a little in your bloodstream, it'll take up a little. If there's a lot, it'll take up a lot. And then that's when you start to get the cognitive benefits and all that sort of stuff that comes with ketosis. So having a higher ketone level, well, that's why it's so important if you are doing a ketogenic diet for therapeutic reasons, be it for treatment of epilepsy or Alzheimer's or depression or some other reason. So in those cases, yes, you do want your ketones as high as possible, and MCT oil is a great way to do that. Fasting does it extremely well too. And, well, 3.9 millimolars per deciliter, that's not too shabby, though. That's actually on the upper end of the what Finney and Volek consider the optimal range for dietary or nutritional ketosis. I was going to say something else, but anyway. Yeah. So I'm really happy with that number. I'm really excited that I went and did my blood test today. I won't see the actual results until sometime next week, but I'm super excited to see those. My hope is that I have some really wacky blood test results. If it's just kind of par for the course and just regular stuff, I'll be kind of disappointed, but hey, so goes life. I like to predict ahead of time what it's going to be and tell you all so that in case I'm right, I'm like, yeah, I was really right. My prediction is that my triglycerides will go up in a similar way that they went up when I was doing avocado oil in November. And I'm predicting that my LDL cholesterol will go down significantly because of the polyunsaturated fatty acids. I suspect that my HDL will come down as well, and my particle count will come down also. But it may go the other way. We'll see. If it goes the other way, I'm going to have a lot of fun with Dave Feldman. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, speaking of the polyunsaturated fatty acids, yesterday was my last day consuming that. And I'm glad because my plantar fasciitis, it's the, I don't know if it's a tendon or a ligament. It's the thing that goes across the bottom of your foot, and where mine inserts into my heel. Several years ago, before I started keto, I was starting to get a lot of pain there. So much so that I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because it keeps vibrating. There we go. Done. Several years ago, before I was doing keto, my plantar fasciitis started to. Or no, my plantar. Is it called plantar? I think it's called plantar fasciitis, and it's my plantar fascia. That's what it is. My plantar fascia started to get inflamed. It could have been from any number of things, going on the elliptical too much, running. I used to work out a lot more than I do now, and I never lost weight. Funny that. Can't outrun a bad diet. Anyway, it started to hurt. I went to the foot doctor, and he told me what to do. He said, no, I'm not going to go there. I had to get one of those funny, it stretches your foot back. It keeps it in a, it pulls your foot back and holds it there all night long so that when you wake up in the morning, it doesn't hurt like crazy. And that's usually how plantar fasciitis manifests, is you wake up in the morning, you step out of bed, and it feels like you're stepping on Legos or nails. It just hurts like crazy. And so I was getting that. I was taking non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs and NSAIDs, specifically naproxen, because that keeps the inflammation down and it helps with everything. I went on a ketogenic diet and it went away. It wasn't a side effect I was planning on. Interestingly enough, I don't remember which podcast I was listening to, and I've tried to find it since then, but no luck. They were discussing that the way that ibuprofen and Aleve and all those other non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs were developed was they were investigating the pathways that polyunsaturated fatty acids use to create inflammation in our bodies, and then they were trying to block those. And it turned out to be a good pain reliever and anti-inflammatory drug. Forget that you can get the same effect just by no longer consuming polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs. So that's the exact opposite of what I've done for the last week. My heel actually hurts right now. So it could be psychosomatic because I was expecting it to happen, but I think that really is happening, and the fact that it's hurting right now is another indication. Anyways, like I said, I went and got my blood test today. It was the cap and stone, whatever, of the PUFA part of the experiment. And then I went right from there to my exit interview from my now former daytime job. So I am now self-employed. That is me. I no longer have a day job other than working for myself. And you know, the problem with my new job is my new boss is a jerk. Yeah. Working for yourself, my dad owned his own business, and I swore that I would never do that to myself. No way was I ever going to own my own business, because you have to pay taxes yourself, and you have to do payroll, and you never have a day off. I mean, there's no paid leave. It's just you're always on the clock. But this is what I'm passionate about. This is what gets me up in the morning, and now I'm going to be able to devote my full energies to it, other than, my family. They actually, well, they're before this, but we'll make sure that happens, right? Anyway, last thing I wanted to talk about was that I was just about to shoot this video, and the post office showed up in their big giant truck to drop off some package cages, and I'm really stoked about this. Up until now, so let me go back in time. What are we at? 9 minutes? You can stop it if you don't want to hear about this. I won't be upset, but let me go back in time to how things used to be. In 2015, if you placed an order for Keto Chow, I would get home from work, the aforementioned day job, and I would get all of the orders that had come in for the day. There's usually 2, 3, sometimes as many as 6 or 8. Ooh. I would get the flavors that I had available. So if you ordered strawberry, vanilla, or chocolate, I had those on hand because those ones came in a 10-pound box of protein. So it was less expensive to mix up. So I would keep a few of those on hand. And I would, if you ordered one of the other more esoteric flavors, like cookies and cream or chocolate mint or buttercream toffee or banana or one of those other ones. And once again, this is going back to the Dimetize Elite. That's what I used to use for my flavoring and the protein and everything like that. Anyway, so I'd mix it all up. I would mix up your particular batch one at a time. I would line up a whole bunch of empty containers, weigh out each individual thing, and make your order. Which was why if you ordered one of the other flavors, it was more expensive, and it was at least a week, because if you ordered banana, I would order banana protein powder for you, essentially, and mix it up and then ship it off. But then, after I'd gotten all of the stuff, I would pour each order into a Ziploc bag, a gallon Ziploc bag, put that into another Ziploc bag, write the flavor that was on it, box it up, and then every night I would take those to the post office and put them in the night drop box. And usually I would fill up the night drop box on if it was a heavy order day. So that's what I would do. I was doing it all alone, usually when the kids had all gone to bed by then. Not really sustainable, but at that point it was just onesie twosie every very small order volume. My wife was not gainfully employed outside of the home, because don't ever say that a mother, particularly a mother of two sets of twins, it does not work, because holy cow, don't even go there. So she was, up until recently, she hadn't been gainfully employed outside the home, but she had started working for a neighbor, putting together craft stuff for a business that the neighbor was running. Wow, the guy's really revving his engine. Let's see if I can block that. There we go. Okay. So she had been working for this neighbor doing stuff. And I said, we could probably make you more money if you helped me out instead. She's like, oh, okay. So I was mixing it all up still, and then she was packaging it. And at one point in the time, and if you look back in my blog, you'll actually find where we tore out the kitchen counters and put in concrete counters. For that week, I was actually mixing on a folding table, which was fantastic. Anyway, just going back in time here. Moving forward, when she was helping me out, she was actually doing all the boxing and stuff. And like I said, I was mixing it up. It got to the point where we needed help. So we started bringing in our friends and neighbors, and they would help mix up stuff. Eventually, I was able to find a machine that could do mixing. And at that point, we were able to mix 10 pounds of protein with all the other ingredients. It was 5.86 something or other weeks worth at a time. So we would put all the ingredients in there, and at that point we had figured out that we needed to weigh out the other ingredients besides the protein powder ahead of time, and that was the genesis, in case you were wondering, of the base powder. It was all the ingredients except for the protein powder. So we would get a whole bunch of Ziploc bags. We would weigh out each ingredient into the bags, and then we'd go to the next ingredient into the bags and weighing out enough for the 10-pound batch. Then we would put that into the mixer, and then we would put whichever flavor we were doing at the time, be it chocolate or vanilla. We put that in there, run the mixer for a minute or two. It'd get everything really nice and mixed up. And then we would weigh it out and put it into bags that we had already stuck a label on. And then we would heat seal those, put them into big bins, and use those to fulfill orders. And that is how we did it up until it was about, I think it was February or March of 2017. I was going to say this year. It's not this year anymore. That's when we finally got Keto Chow 2.0. And Keto Chow 2.0 is where we started having our own protein with our own flavor mix and all of that. And it was being done in a contract manufacturer or a co-packer. So yeah, it was a much better way to do it. We didn't have to mix all the stuff ourselves anymore, which was a lot better. And it meant that we got our house back because, well, in September of 2016, wow, it's been a long time, we signed a lease on the warehouse. It's actually where I am right now. I'm in the one office that's in the warehouse. And so we started using that to do the shipping so that we could have back our kitchen table. Although a dining room table, it was nice in the sense that every single day we had to clean. It had to be clean. And same thing for mixing in the kitchen. It had to be clean. And yeah, so that was nice in that sense, although everything being covered in protein powder sucked. Although now everything's covered in drywall dust, but that's a different story. Anyway, so we had for a long time we were shipping from the warehouse, but we were still mixing in the kitchen because that was the requirement of the Utah cottage food industry laws. So yeah, we were shuttling stuff back and forth, but since we got Keto Chow 2.0 going, that was no longer a problem. We would place an order and in theory, it would just magically show up. In practice, there was a lot of work to be done to get the stuff here. And yeah, that's a bit of, oh yeah, that's where I was going with all this. We got the cages from the post office. Anyway, so up until now, we would load everything into the back of a truck, the back of a pickup truck. And then we would drive over to the post office and we would pull up to the loading dock. Finally, they started letting us use the loading dock, which was nice. And we would unload it. It was a lot easier with two people. Unload it into the bins, the big package bins that they have at the post office. Well, since I knew that today was my last day at my other job, starting on Monday, I'm going to be here. Like, for a long time, probably until like 3-4 o'clock every day. So because of that, we can finally take advantage of the post office coming every day to pick up our stuff. So we don't have to drop it off. They will just come pick it up. So we had them deliver the cages that all the packages are going to be going into. And so starting Monday, we don't have to drive to the post office every day anymore, which is fantastic. So anyway, this has gone on a lot longer than normal, extra 10 minutes than I normally would have. But yeah, see you tomorrow. Ooh, tomorrow we're having a meetup. Yeah.